Part 2 about the thyroid. I hope you saw part 1. Please watch part 1, it's right here on this channel. In this video, we're going to go into blood work on the thyroid. What we're doing with this series of videos is going to make more sense if you watch part 1. So go ahead and click pause on this one, open part 1 in a different tab, and watch that before getting through this. Or if you've already seen part 1, welcome back. Let's do this. The thyroid is so popular to discuss. I mentioned that in the first video. What we're going to do is go through blood work and what we typically see measured on blood work, because it's a jumble of letters, and I want you to have a better understanding of what it all means. So feel free to watch this video at a slower rate, or just to press pause and then rewind it a little bit and hear what I have to say again and again. First things first, TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. In the first video in this series, I asked you if you knew what part of the body made TSH. It comes from your brain. Your brain is like the parent in this analogy. And they're going to tell their kid to clean their room. Their kid is the thyroid. And what we're going to see with some of these other hormones is how many times does it take the parent telling the kid to clean their room before they actually do it. So if you have really high TSH on your blood work and your other thyroid hormones are normal, then it takes that parent telling their kid to clean the room a lot of times to get the kid to actually clean the room. In those cases, we don't necessarily need thyroid support as much as we need to make sure that the brain and the thyroid are communicating. Now on this topic of T3 and T4 and the free versions, alright, so T3 and T4, that comes from your thyroid. Okay? We will know if your thyroid is actually producing good levels of hormones based on these levels. We'll also know how your thyroid is interacting with your liver based on these levels. So when clients have come in and their TSH is in a really normal range and their T3 and T4 are off, I'm spending my attention on their thyroid and their liver. Now over here we see free T3 and free T4. What do we want to know about this? So when the body makes T3 and T4, some of it gets bound up. And that can be for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes the body doesn't need all of what was made. So let's say your brain asks your body for 10 pounds of thyroid hormone, and then when it gets that order of 10 pounds, it says, oh, you know what? I actually only needed 9. So now the body is going to bind 1 pound of that thyroid hormone. Here's why we want to know this. If we just measure TSH, the brain signal to the thyroid, the parent asking to clean the room, and whether or not the kids respond to that, the hormones, we don't know how much of those hormones are actually active or free to get put to work. And we want to know that. Because otherwise it's like having money in a bank account and you forgot the PIN. Great, you've got all that money in there, but you can't get it out and you can't use it for anything. That's why we want to know the free levels. Now what I also put on here is TPO and TG. And I asked you in the last video if without a Google search you could tell me what those are. What these two do for us is they tell us how our immune system is interacting with our thyroid. The reason we want to know this is sometimes the thyroid actually gets so dysfunctional that the body starts to view it as an enemy, as a foreign invader, something that's coming in and shouldn't be in there. And the immune system will go after the thyroid to try to stop it. Now, this used to be incredibly rare. In our modern world, it's far more common. We want to know if the immune system, if the body is attacking itself, if the body's immune system is attacking the thyroid. And that's why we want to look at these two. People will say, oh, but there's no family history of autoimmune issues or diseases like Hashimoto's disease or Graves' disease, which commonly affect the thyroid. Just the same, I want to make sure your immune system and your thyroid are getting along. Just like I want to see how your thyroid and your liver are getting along. Just like I want to know how your brain is getting along with your thyroid. So the big picture here is when we're going to do blood work for the thyroid, we want to make sure that we're not just looking at the thyroid, but some of the key players that the thyroid interacts with. Now I'm expecting you have questions about this because I'm also expecting that this stuff has never been explained to you before. So drop some comments below. If this needs to be an 18-part video series, let's do it. I'd rather you understand your thyroid. I'll see you in the next video. We're talking minerals.